This is when you're actually involved in the actual business. Okay, guys, my hair is annoying me. But I didn't glue it down, so if my wig does come off, just let's focus on the content. Hey, that came up. Today's video is all about TIPP versus TOPP. So if you don't know what that is, that's just the different ways that you can become a CASA, a chartered accountant. So this could apply for people who are currently doing their CTA, so their honors year, or you could be in first year, or you could be in high school just thinking about what you could possibly do, and you're considering doing the same thing that Miss K did. I wouldn't advise that. I mean, do accounting if you really want to, but nah. Anyways, so TIPP versus TOPP, that is what it is all about. So the reason I've done this video is because I know a lot of you don't have mentors, and I really do think that the role of a mentor is very invaluable, especially when it comes to things like corporate. We all think that there is one route to get into corporate, whereas there are various ways, and sometimes you don't know because you've never been there, but someone else who's already inside can tell you that, no, listen, you can do it A, B, C, or you can go D, E, F. So I'm going to play that little mentor role for you guys. I know a couple of you have actually DM'd me to ask me to be your private mentors, and I unfortunately don't have capacity, and you'll see why when I explain the type of auditing that I'm doing. So yeah, I don't have capacity because there is no time. Literally, I'm doing this in my break because it's like, if I don't post, you guys are going to be angry at me, but I don't have time because I'm working overtime, and we'll be working overtime for the next 3-4 weeks. Crisis. Okay, so with accounting, there are various ways that you can become a chartered accountant. So the standard way, the way that I followed it, was you do a 3-year BCom accounting degree, and then you do your CTA, which is your honors year, but it's not really honors because there's no thesis. And then after that, you do your articles for 3 years. And then after 3 years and writing 2 board exams in those 3 years, you qualify as a chartered accountant. So in total, let's see, you study 3 years plus your honors plus 3 years of articles. So basically it's a 7-year journey. Okay, so it's becoming a doctor. So if you're stuck between becoming a doctor and a CA, just do what you want, because you shouldn't choose the CA because you're like, it's shorter, because it really ain't. I chose CA because I thought it'd be shorter, but also I'm really scared of blood, so I don't regret my decision. Okay, so that's the standard way, but there are many other ways of becoming a CASA. So some people directly after high school, they'll start their article. So they'll do a learnership where you work and study part-time. I wouldn't advise this unless if you really need to, because some people are usually old, so they don't want to go be a full-time student, or they need the money to support their family and so on and so forth. So if you are someone who has no responsibilities and you can actually go to varsity, I would advise that, because it's not an easy degree. Not everyone becomes a CASA. A lot of people actually do BCom accounting, and then after that they just branch out into other things, because CTA is really where it differentiates between an accountant and a chartered accountant. Cool. So you can jump straight in after high school, or you can study your 3-year degree, so do your BCom or business science. I mean, if you're from UCT, you can also do business science. But after that, your CTA, you can do it part-time or full-time. I did everything full-time. I didn't want to rob on myself. Also because I didn't have responsibilities back at home, so I was able to do it full-time, 4 years, sit down, be a student, earn no money, basically. But if you are someone who does need to work and you do want to do your CTA or GDA part-time, then you can go to certain companies that will take you in with just your 3-year degree, and then you do your CTA part-time. Okay, cool. But I will get into this. Basically, this video... I've gone around in circles. I haven't even told you what I'm going to... haven't even told you what this video is about. I don't know why I have so much spit in my mouth. But this video is just a way for you to understand the difference between doing your articles as an auditor and doing your articles as someone doing other things, not an auditor. So TIPP, which is training in public practice, that is when you are an auditor. You are like me. You go to specific companies, you look at their books, you rotate. This could be through the big 4 audit firms like Deloitte, KPMG, PwC, EY, or it can be the smaller firms, BDO, SNG, Grant Thornton, or Auditor General. There are various audit firms that you can go to, or even the smaller ones, because there are smaller ones that aren't really well known, but they still are accredited by SICA. So one tip, whatever you do, whatever route you choose, please double check that they are accredited by SAICA. SAICA is the professional body that rules all the chartered accountants in South Africa, because you can do your 3 years of articles, but if your workplace isn't really accredited by SAICA, you will not be a chartered accountant. You can have all of the experience in the world, you can even do your articles for 5 years, no one cares, but you will not be able to call yourself a CASA, right? Okay, cool. So people do the audit firm, the audit route. That's the traditional way. That's the way I'm doing it. But you can do the TOPP method, which is training outside of public practice. And this is when you do your articles inside an actual company. Like you are not going to audit companies. You are the one preparing the financials. You are the one reconciling things. So we, as the auditors, come in to check your work. Not necessarily, like, it's not to say that the auditors are better than the non-auditors, because definitely it ain't like that. But I'm just saying, you are inside the company, you get actual experience inside your company, and you grow with your company. So this could be at a bank, you can do it Nedbank, First Rand, all of those, or you can do it in an investment bank, so Allen Gray, Investec, and all of that, or you can go to large retailers. So some people are actually forced to do their articles at these retailers like ShopRite or Unilever or MTN and so on, but that's just because they have bursaries with them. But you can also apply to get in. So if you're doing the non-audit route, the ShopRite, the Standard Bank, the Investec, usually they don't take a lot of people. So you have to know your stuff. You have to be really good, because they'll probably take 3 or 4 people every single year. Unlike audit firms where there's like 100, 150, 200, 300 of us. So, if your IFRS 9 knowledge isn't up to scratch, don't worry too much. There is a friend that you can call, and they'll run you through it. Unlike if there's 4 or 5 of you, you guys need to be experts, because you can't lack IFRS 9, because if you say that, then everyone else knows that you don't know IFRS 9. But also, I haven't really worked there, so I'm just speaking on hearsay. I'm pretty sure it's not like hostile. I'm pretty sure you can ask people questions. But, when you are smaller in numbers, you have to know your stuff quite well, right? It just makes sense. Okay, so I'm just going to run through the pros and cons of like both sides, being an auditor and not doing it through the audit route, just so that you can decide when it's time for you to do your articles. So I've got the pros and cons on this little piece of paper, just so I don't forget them. But let me just start with the audit route. When you're doing it, TIPP, training inside public practice. Sorry, I have to actually remind myself what TIPP and TOPP is, because I just knew that I was going to do the audit rate. Like I didn't do enough research about TIPP versus TOPP. I just, this is not about me, this is about you. So let me continue. So the pros of doing your articles through an audit firm is that you can register as an auditor if you want to, like an actual auditor. It's internationally fluid. Like if you are working maybe at PwC South Africa, you can always transfer to PwC UK, PwC Cayman Islands, PwC USA, because PwC is one big international company and it's easy to transfer. This is not to say that you can't do those transfers with other places, but just think about it. Like I don't know if there's a ShopRite in the UK. Maybe there is, maybe they fall under a bigger tree, I just don't know. But I'm just letting you know that if you are doing PwC, Deloitte, EY, it's a big 4 international audit firm. So you do get experience, and usually after your articles, everyone does get an opportunity to go to a country abroad and work at their audit firm, but abroad. So like I'm probably hoping to do mine in the UK or maybe the US, but I am pushing for the UK. Cool. But also with the audit firms, if you are going to go to a smaller firm like BDO, Auditor General and all of that, I don't know if they have that much international presence. So maybe you might not be able to do that transfer as easily. But you'll do your research if that is something you are interested in. Another pro is you move across a lot of companies. So with audit, you don't stay in the same company for long. Like you audit maybe for 4 weeks, 3-4 weeks. The longest company that I've been with has been 7 weeks. So that's like almost 2 months, but it hasn't been anything longer. So you meet new people all the time and you experience different companies all the time. So if you're someone who's really not sure what they want to do, where they want to branch out after they qualify, audit would be great, because you might get experience in mining, and you can also see retailers, and maybe you'll also audit a telecom company, like you'll audit MTN, and then you'll also audit like De Beers mining. You get a lot of exposure so that you can decide that actually I never knew this, but I'm actually really into mining. I love how it works. I love all that. You'll find yourself. But also, don't overthink this. It's not like you're going to get experience into every single industry, because companies are now trying to like sort of narrow us down into like, this is the construction audit group, this is the retail audit group. So usually you will audit around the same type of companies. I am currently in a construction group. Yeah, and I mean, I'm a girly girl, hey, so I'm construction, cement, girl, I don't care. But I mean, it's also like, I didn't really realize that it was so complex. I didn't realize there was this involved. So it is a nice learning experience. But yeah, I mean, you can always ask to be planned elsewhere. Cool. Okay, the last two pros are, it's easier to get into audit, guys. Like, I don't wanna downplay getting in, but it's easier. I mean, I told you guys there's like 300 plus of us, so the process isn't as rigorous as your other firms, as your other companies where there's like 4 or 5. With us it's like, okay, come show us your potential. Obviously they'll look at your marks. Obviously you can't be walking in scraping 50s and 49s. What are you doing? But also they're not going to like crucify you just because you failed something or you got a sup. Unlike when you're doing it like at a bank or whatever, you usually have to get like 75% aggregate. You have to be a high riser. So audit firm, easier to get in, easier, right? Not that everyone gets in, but easier. And then the last pro is that because there are so many people that you are training with, it's easier for you to form your group for when you have to do your APC, which is your second board course. So with your second board course, it really is about teamwork. You actually have to be part of a group. Usually groups are quite diverse. So you'll have a few from this audit firm and a few from that audit firm and a few from the bank and all of that. But I mean, if you are in an audit firm, you are able to get knowledge from a lot of other people, because so many people, you work with so many different people, because every single time you change a client, you change the team that you work with. Like you can't have a work best friend, because you're always moving around. So I mean, that is a pro for when it comes to your APC. Unlike if you are working and there's just 4 of you, you guys might just be forced to be in a group and you might not even like each other. Cool. The downside, because there's always a downside, especially in audits, is that you get a mediocre salary. Like, it's quite moderate. I mean, you can do things like you can buy a moderate car, and you can live in a moderate apartment. You might have to share if you are buying a car, but I mean, it's enough. You'll get through. Obviously we would love for it to be a lot more, but I mean, you won't die. Obviously, it is a bit of a stretch if you are someone who is responsible for other people back at home, because then you have to send money back home and you have to get a place here. So, you have to weigh up your options. You have to weigh up about how important it is for you to live in this area or drive this car and all of that. But, I mean, you can afford yourself, but it's a tight squeeze. I'll tell you that. I definitely still ask my parents for pocket money because, yeah, bruh, like, I'm not about to live a super, super humble life. But, I'm also very fortunate because my parents can still, like, support me. So I do take that as privilege. The other con, there is so much overtime. And I mean, I know people always say, no, you guys get paid less because when you work overtime, you can charge it. Yeah, we charge the overtime, but it's not like you get paid the overtime next week. Like, dude, I have so much overtime accumulating and it hasn't been paid, and I'm just like, still broke, so you do work a lot of overtime, and that is probably the biggest downside. You work for your money, because you're the people who do the groundwork, the heavy work, and then the manager comes and reviews. It's still heavy, but they come and review your work, so it's like, I don't know how to say this, but like, imagine you're building a house, right? You have to make sure that the ground is level. You have to make sure that there's no rocks. You have to make sure that you lay a proper foundation and all of that. And then your manager, and then you also lay up the bricks of the actual house. Your manager comes and they start, they put on I don't know what it's called in English, but it's like they're putting on the nice cement to cover the bricks. It's just to make it look nice. It's to make sure that every single brick is ordered correctly. But yeah, and then the partner comes through. He inspects the whole house because if that house falls, if someone dies in that house, the partner is the one who gets in trouble, not the laborer, not the one who was, shoveling the sand. No, the partner gets in trouble. But all the partner basically does is check that everything has been placered nicely. They check that the windows are working, that the taps are running, just to make sure that the house is functional. But trust me, it's not like they're gonna go and check that every single brick has been laid according to 90 degrees perpendicular type of thing. No, that's for you to do. That's your responsibility as the trainee. Cool. So yeah. And then also lastly, there are many trainees. Again, I've said this was a pro, but it can also be a con. So because there's so many of you guys, you can get lost in the sauce. And if you are someone who doesn't know how to shine, if you don't know how to speak up, you can get lost in the sauce. You can also some people enjoy it because you can get lazy, but I don't think that's something you should really be striving for, because you really do get what you put in. Like, articles is really about how much you apply yourself, and if you are going to do bare minimum and just try to fly through the 3 years, then fine, you can get through it. But I'm telling you, when you qualify as a CASA, you are going to do such a big fumble, and it's going to jeopardize your whole career. So you might as well apply yourself now. If you're going to make an error, make the error now before you're a CASA, because then people can correct you, people can guide you. Because once you're a CASA, I don't know if you guys saw that video of this lady. I'll show you this lady who was like, she signed a contract but she didn't read it, but also she said she never got it. So then the guy's like, you're a whole CASA.
Yeah, that is fine. Let us continue, Chair.
No, but the question remains, how could you have approved a contract you did not know?
Chair, I didn't think that this is a contract. I thought we were approving only the terms and conditions, not the whole contract. The whole contract would have the whole lot of
Ms.
things, including the price and everything.
Ms. Quinana.
And then the terms of conditions.
Ms. Quinana, you are a chartered accountant. You are a chartered accountant.
So there is a higher standard that people do hold us to. So, make sure that if you are going to do any messes, you make them before you qualify, because after you qualify, you can't even go to jail. So yeah, now moving to the non-audit. So now moving to the people who work at your banks and your consulting. Oh, I forgot, you can also do it at consulting firms. I don't know if they still have it though, because consulting is so hardcore. So like your McKinsey, Bain & Co, BCG, they work so much. So sometimes the psycho articles don't really align with what they do. But I know some people who have done their articles through consulting, they make a lot of money. Oh my gosh. But they also work a lot. So if that is something you are considering, you can try it out and hear what they have to say. But I remember when I was trying to do it with a certain company, they told me that I'd have to forfeit my CASA, and I was like, no ma'am, I'm sorry. I've worked super hard to get to this, so I'm not ready to forfeit. So maybe I'll just branch in after articles, but you never know. So pros and cons of non-audit. Salary is usually high. Like high. They get paid a lot. Because people say that overtime for them is factored into their salary. But even if we got paid our overtime as and when we incur it, it would never reach their salary. So they do get paid a lot. It's good because, it's good if you do want to know more about the industry that your company is operating in. So if you know that banking is for you, if you know that that's where you want to end up, by all means try do your articles through banking, because then you're already getting 3 years experience inside banking, unlike someone who's going to jump out from an audit firm. Try find their way through banking, and compete with people who've been there for more than 3 years. So if you know that's where you want to end up, try get in there. Same with retail. Same with like if you want to work at ShopRite and be like the CFO, try get in there during articles, because then you can start counting your years of experience at ShopRite, and they can be like, oh, Nobuhle has been at ShopRite for the past 20 years. That time, the first 3 years you were doing your articles. Unfortunately, not everyone who is doing their articles through these companies is because they want to. Some of them do have bursaries with them, so they are forced to work for them. So if you have no interest in Unilever or manufacturing, then it does sort of become a waste of time. But you can just make the most of your experience. Like I said, articles, just make the most of it. You may not be doing what you want at the moment, but you can always learn something wherever you are, right? Oh, and then of course, I mean, because us auditors work overtime, I think when you're not in audit, there's less overtime. Like I said, I mean, sure, when you're having month end, there will be a lot of rush and all of that, but like you don't work crazy overtime like us, where we have to sometimes work just because we're auditing like 3 companies at one go. So there's a lot of stuff to do. So I mean, with us, it's like your work follows you, and it's not like you can take sick leave and the work just, gets done by someone else. And I always explain this to my mom and my dad, and they're always like, oh my goodness, you work such a nonsense job and you don't even get paid much. And I'm like, girl, I know in the end it's gonna pay off, but girl, because I remember I was so tired, like I felt I was super super tired. My mom was just like, hey bro, take sick leave, like take the day off. I was like, there's no point, ma, because I'm gonna be in my bed, but I'm gonna be thinking about the work that I need to be doing, and when I get back to work I have so much pressure now to cover up for the one day I missed. So it's not like I explained to my mom like this because she's a nurse. It's not like if you don't go into the hospital, someone else is gonna take over the surgery, oh, okay, oh, Mrs. Kumalo's not in, so need to do that. No, if you are not in, that patient is not going to get attended to. That patient's not going to go in for surgery, so they wait for you. And I mean, if you take too many days, next thing you come back and you have 300 surgeries that you need to perform, but the deadline is still the deadline. So yeah, that is it is unfortunate, but I mean, you will get managers that do understand. You will get managers that do ask you, can you work overtime, or you can work it in your own time. Like you need to be flexible, but also that's because you need to talk. You need to be here. I am here. Especially the last few weeks, I've had to travel home quite a few times because there was a funeral, there was my mom's birthday, and then I just wanted to go home because I missed home. And I told them, Uguti, listen, I will work my overtime, but in KZN. There's no need for me to be at the office. You don't need to come and see me. You need to talk. And if you're scared to talk to your managers, you can also speak to your third years. But yeah, this is not about audit. Okay, but the cons of doing your articles in a non-audit thing is that you need to be freaking good. They want people who have really good marks, so you need your 75% and above, because you are competing. The higher your marks, the higher your chances of getting in. And also this is why there are so little of them. Like I said, we have like 300 people. They probably have like 4 or 5, maybe 10. So yeah, you need to be good at your stuff, but I mean, I'm not saying that you have to know everything off by heart, but you need to be competent. And yeah, I mean, I think that's the only con, hey? Yeah, because there's less numbers. So I mean, maybe because you have to work in the same place every single day for like 3 years, maybe that could be a con if you are someone who likes moving around like me. So I don't know. It's all about how you look at things. But at the end of the day, the training, we all get the same end goal. It's just a different route. I don't think our trainings are the same. I honestly, I don't think that you can say, we all do the same things, because we don't. Some prepare, some review. But yeah. But I mean, as an overarching thing, here are a few tips just for you. You need to make sure that you are using the sun is in my face because okay, sorry. Parting tips engeke mfana phela lelanga liyangilimaza ona zonke. Imoto yami. Okay. Do lots of vac work. I've touched this in another video, so check it out if you do want to see it. But do a lot of vac work in different companies, in different industries, just so that you can see what you would enjoy more. Just watch the video. If you want to see, watch the video. Think about your long-term goal. Where do you see yourself in 10 years, 50 years? Okay, maybe not 50 years, because no one should be working for 50 years. But, think about where you want to see yourself when you're in your 30s, 40s, and all of that. So if you are someone who does definitely see themselves in banking, then go the banking route, because then it also adds to your experience. Next thing, you're CFO of Standard Bank because you have 20 years of experience, but the first 3 you're actually like an article trainee. A trainee article, whatever that is. Yeah. And then do not let money persuade you. Do not let money be your deciding factor. Yes, money is nice. But there will be lots of opportunity to make money later on. When you become a CA, you can make the money. Relax. You should look at other things that are important, like culture, type of people that work there, ethics, guys, so important as a CASA, because if your company suddenly is declared as non-ethical by SAICA, your article's down the drain. And I mean, even if it only gets declared as unethical later on after you've left long ago, just think about whenever people hear that you're from there or you're going there, there's still just because of the saga, you know. And I mean, you weren't involved in that. I mean, do you understand how big audit firms are? Do you understand how many clients they do? So just one slip up and your whole audit firm is just under the bad light, you know. So just think about that. Consider a lot of things. Don't let money be the be all end all. And then lastly, ask around. Ask people who are doing their articles. Ask them where they're doing them. Ask them how they're finding it. Some people might not be able to share fully, like the good and the bad, because of certain clauses in our contracts, or just because they don't like sharing those type of things. I know a lot of people will try to ask me, but like I don't have capacity to answer everyone. So, you know, maybe just ask down in the comments, because other people are always reading the comments and they can also talk to us, you know. So, you know, let's just talk, you know. But I will obviously try my best to respond to you. If you do follow me on Instagram at @noguhle_khumalo. If you don't follow me, please don't ask me a question, because I'm not going to answer you because you don't even follow me. So, thank you so much for watching. I really do hope that was helpful. I thought it would be like 4 or 5 minutes, but clearly I have a lot to say, as always. But do check out my other videos if you are interested, and please do like this video and comment if you have any questions. Just remember, you're not always commenting for me. Sometimes someone else is reading the comments and someone else can respond to you. But that's it from me, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this useful, please do share it with your friends, your family, your colleagues, your classmates, whoever you want to share it with. Or check out my other videos if you are interested. And I will see you guys later.